Hey, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, and Mario Heron. Big day, actually. Today is the day. It kind of feels a little bit like one of those Christmas days in the NFL season where you want to know, what does our roster look like? As of right now, we have a really good idea of what the roster looks like. And I say as of right now because every team in the NFL is doing the same thing. They're cutting the rosters down to 53 guys, which means all of a sudden someone got cut that the Chargers might have interest in. And we spoke about this, I think, in the last show or the show before, where how many guys on the roster now who think they made the team won't be there. I told you guys, I put that number at 5. Like literally, I think there are 5 guys out there that the Chargers will see on someone else's roster to say, we can add them to our roster. It's an upgrade for what we're trying to do. And just curious, as we will get into the rosters, Josh, but when you sit there and you look at the 53-man roster they have, and you're seeing some of the big names that have been let go, do you see the Chargers making moves, or are you happy with what they have?
I'm partially happy with what they have. One thing I was looking for was, are they going to hold on to Brendan Rice? Or are they going to release him? How many receivers are they going to hold on to in general? They have 7, which is kind of surprising. I thought they'd go with 6. So they end up keeping Simi Fehoko, Darius Davis, and Brendan Rice all belong on this roster. And then they cut Donald Parham, a guy that always had potential. My least favorite word in all of sports is potential. That means you've never done it before. So Donald Parham has always been the potential guy. I'm not completely shocked that he's cut, but it is a little bit of surprise, Mario.
Now we can finally say it. It is done. The guy that was this tall, just throw it up to him in the end zone that never freaking caught it. He's finally gone. Donald Parham, thanks for nothing. See you out the window. We'll see you later. I was so getting annoyed of this red zone threat, this tight end that's catch first, but couldn't catch a freaking football. Safe travels, Donald Parham. I hope you get picked up, man. I really, really do. I love that we kept this many receivers too. By the way, like the more the merrier, baby. This receiving core is not the strongest. Let's make sure we get as much guys as we can that can prove something.
You know, it's funny when you talk about the receiving core, and we'll go through the depth of some of the other positions, but it seemed like a ton of Charger fans, they wanted Rice to stay, right? I mean, I was one of those guys too. I mean, I wanted Rice to stay. I mean, we all know his dad's a Hall of Famer, right there in the conversation as top 5 greatest players in the history of the NFL, and Jerry Rice. And so his son stays. Didn't seem like he got a lot of opportunities, kind of tongue-in-cheek in it, that he didn't have any quarterbacks to actually get him the ball to show what he could possibly do. But maybe he showed enough to say it wasn't just the name. He showed something to Jim Harbaugh and Ortiz to say, this is a guy we want to keep on our roster. We don't want to take a chance of letting him go. Again, a local kid that gets a chance to wear that Charger uniform, that's always exciting. To me, that's exciting. Some teams look at it as a distraction. His dad's the ultimate pro. I can't imagine he's one of those guys that turns into a guy you really got to worry about what he's like away from the facility, guys. So overall, looking at what the Chargers have and the different moves, I think just starting at the top, guys, let's go with the most disappointing move, okay? And that is that Easton Stick's really the only quarterback backing up Justin Herbert. And for the people out there who like Easton Stick, fantastic. I don't know Easton Stick. None of us actually know Easton Stick. That doesn't matter. We just want to see wins. I think we made that really clear on this show that it doesn't matter what the relationship is. Josh is actually very close to 2 guys that were either on the team or trying to make the team. It didn't matter. When one of them got cut, meaning Luis Perez, oh, well, it's all about wins for this Charger team. That's where the loyalty goes. But Easton Stick, if you've watched him, and Jim Harbaugh kept saying, Josh, I want to see what he's going to show me. That's why I keep giving him more starts. I'm sorry. He didn't show me anything. As a football fan, I have zero faith if something happens to Justin Herbert that Easton Stick is the guy. I'm sorry. When you have a quarterback rating of 60 against the Dallas Cowboys when they're playing their 2s, 3s, and a bunch of guys that got cut today, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence that Easton Stick is the guy in case something bad happens to the franchise.
Yeah, I was very confused when people on social media were like, he won the job, he had a good game. Well, he went 12 for 29. So if your quarterback goes 12 for 29, you probably lost the game. If Justin Herbert goes 12 for 29, we're rioting in the streets. Why did he go 12 for 29? He had an awful game. He didn't deserve it. I think he's the Donald Parham situation as well. He's been on the team for a while. He hasn't proven himself, but he makes the team. I was upset that Luis didn't even get the opportunity to prove himself in the last preseason game. I thought it was really a 50-50 shot that he was going to make the team. And for him not even to get a chance, to me, Mario, I thought it was disappointing. Maybe I'm biased because I know the guy, but to not give a guy a chance, especially when Easton Stick never won the job.
I'm with you. Easton Stick didn't light the world on fire, and I'm not saying you have to be a backup quarterback. It's not like you have to throw for 300 yards in every preseason game or just like absolutely be a highlight reel for ESPN the next day or on social media. But you have to look competent. You have to give the team and like the organization some confidence that if case of emergency, you can withhold up your side of the bargain and at least make the team competitive. I do not see that with Easton Stick at all. I didn't see that in the preseason games. I didn't see that last year when he stepped in. The only thing I thought of Easton Stick goes, all right, maybe he's fun in an option and maybe he'll like run for a couple yards. Like I'll take that maybe instead of Herbert running, but there's nothing that screams to me, Dave, that this guy should be a backup quarterback for a team that is trying to go to the playoffs. This isn't a team that's on the level of the Patriots where we're trying to tank and we're looking at Shadir Sanders, Carson Beck, and Quinn Ewers next year going, hey, is that going to be our next guy? No, this is an organization that we have our QB, we have our head coach. We're looking towards the future. We're looking towards now, trying to build something. I don't think Easton Stick helps that at all. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up. But hey, what are you going to do? As long as number 10's out there, we'll compete.
As long as he's out there. I mean, that's what we want. As long as he's out there, 17 games, including the playoffs, then, it's an argument and a worry that we never needed to have. The deal is we just don't know, right? You just don't know. And you want to be sure that in case something happens, whether it's third quarter, fourth quarter, whether it's a few games, that there's somebody in there that can manage the offense. It doesn't look like a high-powered offense right now as the season's about to begin. Just from what they have personnel-wise, it doesn't look like one of those teams where they're going to threaten the Rams for the greatest show on turf. It's not that team. So if things are close games, you can't have a guy that can't move the ball downfield, a 3-and-out guy. So when I'm looking at him again, I'll go to that 60 rating the other day. It wasn't very impressive. I mean, Trey Lance on the other side was ridiculous on turning the ball over, but his numbers at the end, if you just looked at his total numbers, you go, and Trey Lance had a great game. He didn't. Trey Lance threw for over 300 yards. He didn't. You turn the ball over. There's one thing to be said, hey, at least he doesn't turn the ball over. But I'm sorry, you can't keep going 3-and-out. You're going to kill your defense. And there's nothing that Easton Stick showed me that he's a guy that can move the ball downfield and put drives together. It might sound kind of harsh. I've seen people in the chat that are saying, wait till waivers happens. They're going to grab another quarterback. I hope they do. I absolutely hope they do. And I think that was a big concern all the way through training camp for a lot of Charger fans, what was going to happen. Again, Luis Perez showing the door. Max Duggan last week showing the door. It's not like Jim Harbaugh hasn't played this position, right? So you kind of sit there and you go, man, he knows the position better than us. He has enough there in Easton Stick that he's the best of the guys that he let go. And he's the guy that he has faith in today. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's a tough business, man. I mean, football, pro sports, it's a tough business. So here you are. You're calling your family. You're calling your friends. You're calling your high school coach. I made the team. Dude, in 12 hours, you might be off the team. Like, there's no guarantee you made the team unless you're a big money contract guy, right? And so it's just one of those things for, I think, a lot of guys. So, Josh, go to the next position as far as depth and who they have left.
Next position would be running back that I would like to point out that Spiller's gone. I think that's not a surprise to anyone that Spiller's not on the team anymore. He never made a splash with this team. Also, Joshua Kelly got released by, I believe it was the New York Giants, the team he was trying out for. That's a guy that never made a splash with the Chargers as well. Is anybody in the chat upset that Spiller's not on the team? Because I haven't seen one person on social media say, oh my God, we don't have Spiller. With Patterson and Vidal as your backups, I feel more confident than having, Spiller there. He hasn't proven anything, Mario.
No, he has not at all. Guys, I can't help it. I really, really can't. Sometimes when I look at the Chargers final roster, I become bipolar. I really do. And what I mean by that is I get really excited with one group, and then the next group, guys, I get really, really depressed. I get kind of sad. I get really, really nervous. And it's like a quick 1 30-second trigger onto the next one. It doesn't really help me at all. I look at the outside linebackers and I see Bosa, Dupree, Mack, and Tully, and I literally go, God, no one's stopping us. We're the most dangerous defense in all of football. And then I look towards the tight ends and I see Will Dissly, Hayden Hurst, and Stone Smart. I go, holy hell. All right, boys, let's run the damn football. It's just like one of those things, Dave, where sorry for the weird shock, but man, that kind of got to me. Josh, you mentioned it to us. Ryan Culpepper had a really great comment kind of about all the QBs that got cut and kind of the difference of why is Easton Stick better than A's three guys. I can pull this up on the screen. Just give me your first thoughts on it.
I think he nailed it right here. There's 3 guys that got cut today that I think the Chargers would pick up as their second quarterback when it would make a lot of sense. Bailey Zappi, Mike White, Desmond Ridder all got cut today. I'll just read his comment because I want to give him credit. Ryan Culpepper said Zappi, Mike White, and Ridder all got cut. Even one of them would be better than Stick. Yeah. As a Charger fan, you want any one of those guys over Easton Stick. And I'm the biggest Desmond Ridder hater of all time. I don't believe in Easton Stick. There's nothing that Easton Stick has done as his time as a Charger to make you believe in Easton Stick. He could be a practice squad quarterback. That's fine. I never want to see him play in a game with the Chargers. Bailey Zappi, interesting because that Patriots quarterback room is weak. I thought he had a chance of making that team. But I would take Mike White and Desmond Ridder over Easton Stick as well. What about you, Dave?
Zappi is the one I want. He's the one I want. Anything that happened with the Patriots the last few years, it's hard to judge. I mean, even it's not like I'm defending Mac Jones because he's an Alabama guy. It has nothing to do with it. Honestly, it wasn't fair. I mean, it's basically asking you to write an essay with a pencil with no lead in it. You had no chance. You had no chance with the Patriots. And Billy Zappi, if you look at his college career, here's a guy that put up crazy numbers. I mean, so at some point he knew how to move an offense. He's a guy that believes in himself, has confidence in himself. I'm not saying he's a starter in the NFL, but he's worth taking a look at for sure. I'm with you. I'm not a Ridder fan at all, but Zappi would be the one that I'd bring in.
To your point about Zappi, I think anyone that made it out of that whole just Patriots debacle alive should get credit and should probably be given like another shot. You know what I mean? Like you could have literally put Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in there, and that team would have maybe gone 500. Like that team they suck. I mean, they're absolutely god awful, terrible. And I want to be against getting Mike White. Not Mike White. I'm sorry, Billy Zappi. I think he deserves kind of a chance with that. I would stay clear of Mike White. Desmond Ridder, like Josh, just kind of a huge fall from grace, was it not? Like this is a guy that took Cincinnati to the first ever college football playoff. Then they got smoked, but kind of was a slept on prospect. Like could be something in the NFL. Went from starter, and then now he's doesn't have a job heading into week 1 of the season.
I'm gonna throw this real quick. Bailey Zappi, by the way, played at Western Kentucky. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the same school Jim Harbaugh's dad used to be the head coach of forever. Obviously, he didn't coach him, but there was a connection, there to that school. Like his dad's a legendary coach at that school. Again, guy had ridiculous numbers. I know it was a smaller school, the whole deal, but here's a guy with some NFL experience, right? When the Patriots got frustrated with Mac Jones, we saw Bailey Zappi out there.
And I've made it very clear on this show, I'm all about having more veteran presence as your backup. A guy that's played in games, started NFL games. Easton Stick is not that guy. Bailey Zappi would be my choice as well. To go back to what Mario said about Desmond Ridder, dude, I don't get it. I never got it. When Alabama played against him in the playoff, didn't make any sense. Dave and I watched the entire game, as most people did. There's not 1 second during that game where you're like, holy hell, Desmond Ridder's on the field. Like it was never that moment. They had Sauce Gardner. That was the whole thing. Can we get a catch on Sauce Gardner? But Desmond Ridder did not do anything for us. Nothing. Ever. I never understood that.
I will give you credit. I remember watching Cincinnati that season because I was living here for the first time, and there's a lot of Cincinnati guys around me. We'd watch a game, and I literally go, "This guy does absolutely nothing for me." Like I was like, "This is like, what are we doing here?" Like nothing stood out to me. I was like, "Oh, this guy's spectacular." Like I was just like, I don't see it. It was like it was like everything. Like there's guys I've always been like that with. I was like that with Zach Wilson. I'm just taking victory laps right now. I was like that with Mac Jones. Sorry about it. And I was like that with Mitch Trubisky. I remember watching a game. He threw 4 picks, and I was like, this guy does nothing for me. And then he gets taken second overall. But then again, I also believed in Bismack Biyombo being a top 5 player in the NBA. So what are you going to do?
What are you gonna do? Real quick, I want to go back to what you said. I want to focus on the running back room. Someone said the running back room looks really good. Look, when healthy, the running back room would be sufficient. But the problem is, can they stay healthy? Right? We talk about this all the time. Can they stay healthy? Josh, going back to Spiller, man, it seemed like when we were doing this show for the last few years, so many comments of people saying they love Spiller. Guys, they aren't giving Spiller a chance. I never saw it. Sorry. I didn't see it. I know we got yelled at a lot the last few years over the Chargers not using Spiller and how come we didn't see it. Guess what? Jim Harbaugh didn't see it either. Neither did Joe Ortiz. They didn't see it. So, we move on, and we cross our fingers that J.K. Dobbins can be the player that everybody in the NFL thought he was going to be when he came into the league. I mean, it's all about health with him.
If the Chargers running backs stay healthy, then they have one of the best running back rooms in the NFL, in my opinion. You have J.K. Dobbins, whose ceiling is insane. And then you have Gus Edwards, who had 18 touchdowns last year as your backup running back. They'd have a top 10 running back room in the NFL if they both stayed healthy. The issue is J.K. Dobbins gets hurt walking down the street to get the mail. So we need to make sure that he's healthy and ready to go for the season. There's a guy I want to bring up, Mario, that really proved himself. And I didn't realize how many connections this guy had to Chargers management till after the game. Was Tony Jefferson, a guy that I went to high school with, a San Diego legend, 14 tackles, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, a sack. He couldn't have played better, Mario.
He could have played better, and we've talked about this a lot. I think he's a veteran that is desperately needed in the Chargers locker room, and a guy that's going to really help this team kind of take to the next level. It's going to help the defense. It's really going to help Derwin James out. And, Fernando talked to us about like how they've kind of built a very close relationship. It's huge that he's on the team. I expect, Dave, I'm calling this shot now. And if that happens, it's going to make me horny. But I expect that he gets, I'll call it now. We're in Arrowhead. Tony Jefferson gets a pick. It feels like one of those things that's going to happen. I have no idea why, but every year I feel like there's just these secondary guys that have been veterans, and in these key, just big games, these big moments, they get a pick. And for some reason, there's nothing that gets me more excited downstairs than that.
Jenny didn't like your line. You see what she wrote on the chat right there?
I did not. Oh, right, sorry, Jenny. Bottom. Hopefully she's not a first-time listener, because if she was, we just lost one.
Just lost another one. You're killing our female audience. That's the Tony Jefferson game against the Cowboys. Look, it's preseason, man, but it locked it up, right? I'm not sure he was going to get cut anyway, but for sure at the same time, you could tell Jim Harbaugh wanted him here. The players wanted him here. There's certain guys that are great glue guys. He's a great glue guy. He's a guy that will be coaching in the NFL when he's done with this, or he'll be in a front office who's already working with the Ravens before. But the fact that he made the team and just had the game of his life in a preseason game, Jim Harbaugh said it a lot, guys, as far as, big things happen in these games. I mean, we've heard guys who have made careers out of preseason games. As much as we goofed on it, you guys are young, but do you know the Terrell Davis story? Terrell Davis is a Hall of Famer, Terrell Davis was sitting in Japan when the Broncos were playing the Niners, eating a hot dog on the bench, ready to leave at halftime. Just going to jump on a plane and go, I'm out. There's no way I'm going to make the team. Next thing you know, he's on a kickoff, makes a hell of a play on a tackle, and he opens everybody's eyes. And next thing you know, they're winning 2 Super Bowls, and he's going to the Hall of Fame off of a preseason game. That was the jump start to his whole career. Like, literally, he was going to leave at halftime and jump on a plane to say the football dream is over, and it works out. Not saying Tony Jefferson's on his way to the Hall of Fame because he's old, but this was one of those moves that was good for the locker room as well. Not only for the defensive backs, and Tony, I think, Josh, you know him better than I do. I think he's probably content where he is in his career now of what he means to an NFL roster. Not a guy that's going to complain when he's not playing, but a guy that's going to be coaching when he's not playing. He's not going to pull the LaDainian Tomlinson with the dark visor sitting on the bench and go, I can't help anybody out there if I'm not playing, like he did against the Patriots that we'll never forgive him for in the AFC Championship game. I regress. So as we move on, I'm very happy he made the team. It was one of those games against on Saturday against the Cowboys that if that was his last game he ever played, because that was the most unbelievable game going. It was insane. If that was a regular season game or a playoff game or a Super Bowl, you'd go, that's a hell of a way to end a career. That was ridiculous, those stats.
Yeah, he would have been NFL Defensive Player of the Week no matter what anybody else did because his game was so insane. Here's some of the connections Tony Jefferson has to management with the Chargers and the coaches. Joe Ortiz was his boss a year ago today because he was a scout for the Ravens, which is people forget about that. Jim Harbaugh recruited him out of high school. He committed to Stanford going into his junior year on the spot, decommitted. He did that about 4 times in high school. So him and Jim Harbaugh have a relationship. And then Jesse Minter was a defensive assistant in 2017 when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. So all these connections that he has to all the coaches and Joe Ortiz, I think he's going to make this team no matter what. Plus, him and Derwin James are good friends. Like Dave said, he's okay with being a guy that doesn't play every down. He can be a backup safety that's going to make tackles. That's what he does. great tackler, has always been like that, and he does make big plays when they matter the most. He's been part of good defenses, Mario. He came in with the Cardinals as an undrafted free agent, ended up starting for them when they had Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu. They had a very good defense. And then obviously with the Baltimore Ravens, one of the best defenses in the NFL. He's a guy that makes plays, and he's always been part of good defenses.
And it's going to be huge when we have injuries because guess what? It happens every single time. Every single year, every team gets plagued by it. Chargers have known to just get absolutely bodied by injuries. Now, we have Ben Herbert. Ben don't break now, but still, guys can get hurt. Having Jefferson kind of pop in is going to be absolutely huge. Dave, you look like you're holding in a fart or about to laugh at some
I'm
comment.
laughing my ass off. I'm laughing at messages on the side. When Josh was talking about Tony committing to Stanford, Tony committed to it like you always hear players saying, hey, I wish I was only recruited by one school. That way I don't have to call the other coaches to say I'm not coming because they're all great. Tony was ridiculous. He committed to Stanford. My favorite Tony Jefferson move of all time is when he committed to UCLA. And when UCLA played USC, he stood on the USC sideline. And all the UCLA players lost their minds. They were so angry that, what are you doing? It's a rival, and you're on the wrong sideline. And then the whole thing was nuts. Tony even had a move where Tony's best friend in high school got a scholarship to UCLA too because Tony was going to go. And then Tony doesn't go, and they still committed to that guy to give him a scholarship, and that guy wasn't even a college football player. Do you remember that, Josh? Yeah. It was, Tony did some crazy things, but the move that's cool for anyone who had never been recruited like that at that kind of level, like Tony was one of those top players who played in that Army game and everything, like it was equivalent in the McDonald's basketball game. He had so many letters that he would just throw them on the floor without even opening them. I remember Josh would bring home letters like from Notre Dame and Tennessee, and they'd just be on the floor, and Tony wouldn't even open them, of offers of saying, hey, we want you to come out. But it was it was cool to watch him and then see where he is now on the Chargers is really cool. I know we spent a lot of time talking about Tony. What do you think about this tight end room? I'm with Mario on this, and this is how I felt before the draft, feel even more so today. This is new football. Come on, if you play Madden at all and you're going, the only way I have a chance of moving the ball downfield against anyone who's great at Madden is basically the fake handoff to the running back, the play action fake, and throwing to the tight end. Like I used it on Josh, who's a little kid when Gates was there all the time. Dude, the Chargers don't even have that guy. Like there's nobody there. And anyone who wants to write right now and go, hey, don't forget about Will Disley. Dude, I'm telling you right now, there's no one there. There's no threat from the tight end position. I can't tell how disappointed I am by the Chargers tight end room.
Yeah, don't what's the phrase? Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining. That's the thing with the Chargers tight end room. Everybody keeps telling me Hayden Hurst is the next coming of Jesus Christ. I'm like, dude, let's not lie to ourselves here. This is a situation where you look at these teams that cut their tight ends. Irv Smith for the Kansas City Chiefs got cut today. And you look at other guys that get cut around the league and say, hey, maybe this guy would be an addition to our room as a downfield threat that can catch the ball. We have a huge downgrade in our receiver room as a pass-catching tight end. Will Disley is a better blocking tight end than anybody the Chargers have had since Brandon Manumaniuma or whatever his last name is. Best good blocking tight end since him. That's pretty good, thanks. Since him. As a pass-catching tight end, this is the worst wide receiver room the Chargers have had in my memory. I can't remember the Chargers having a worse tight end room catching the ball. Gerald Everett was my favorite player on the Chargers last year that didn't get enough credit his entire time with the Chargers. He's really a backup tight end behind Tyler Higbee with the Rams, came over to the Chargers and really outplayed what we all thought he was going to do. So Mario, maybe we look at what guys were put on waivers and add a tight end here. Stone Smart's the third tight end. I don't know.
For love of God, just maybe someone. But I could also see them just going, all right, we got a group. Let's rock and roll and let's go. I think a big
only choice.
What'd you say?
It's their only choice. It's their only choice.
Yeah.
So this is what we have. Let's rock and roll.
And if you look at, I think the correlation to that as well is like, look, they kept 3. They're mostly blocking guys, but they kept that many receivers. That's where they're going to try to pick up production. You know what I mean? I think that's the way they're kind of going to go with it. Let's put our faith on all of our eggs in Joshua Palmer, Quentin Johnson, and Ladd McConkey, baby. They're calling it the bottom 5 receiving core of the NFL, and you call the bottom 5, I call them top 5. So here's the bird off yours. We'll see you in January.
Dude, if you weren't a Charger fan, you'd say the same damn thing. You'd go, who are these guys?
Yeah,
that's what you'd say.
Yeah.
I
bump on it every day.
Yeah. Let's be honest here. Again, I'll tell you right now, if Brock Bowers becomes the player we think he's going to be with the Raiders, you're just going to see me all fall just walking down the street after Charger games, just kicking invisible cups, just down the street, just angry kicking cups, just going, what the hell? I can't believe it. I mean, he was right there. Like, if he turns into the next Travis Kelce, I'm going to be extremely disappointed that we have no threat at the tight end position. And we don't see one coming out for a few years in college football either to say, well, we can fix it next year. It's frustrating. Speaking of the tight end position, just jumping off the Chargers real fast, everyone wants to know, when is Travis Kelce going to call it a career? Again, he's the same age that Rob Gronkowski is, who's called it a career a few times. Travis Kelce, I don't know if you guys saw it today, signed that deal for his podcast for $100 million. I mean, the girl he's dating's worth, about $1 billion. But to think that, hey, man, there's a lot of money out there on the table that I'm not getting bruised and beaten up every single week. I've already done everything I can. I've won Super Bowls. I'm on my way to the Hall of Fame. Let's hope Kelce calls it a career quicker than the 2 years remaining on his contract, too. I mean, that's where I'm at. Let's just see that retirement coming. The messages coming in. Dominic is absolutely right. Why did we cut Everett? I don't understand why we got rid of Gerald Everett. It just didn't make any sense. He was the only threat you had at that position. Couldn't agree more. I think it's one of the worst moves that the Chargers made over the last few years, but extremely disappointed there. I do have faith in this offensive line. I have faith in Justin Herbert. I don't know how much time he gets to throw the ball. I mean, I just see a ton of slants, right? I mean, who's gonna stretch the field?
All right, let's bring this up. Let's say Joe Alt, great tackle for 10 years, okay? You have Brock Bowers, who's a great tight end for 10 years. You have Malik Neighbors, who's a great receiver for 10 years. Which one would you want? This is the situation the Chargers found themselves in.
Brock Bowers.
You're taking Brock Bowers?
I take the tight end
the whole time.
We're staying with the Chargers the whole time.
Yeah. And I think Joe Alt has the longest career. Does that make sense? Here's a couple things, man. Of the three guys we know right now, we know Joe Alt is a complete team guy. His dad knows the game. He knows the game. He's not going to ever become a cancer. Joe Alt's not going to become a cancer on this team.
No.
At the same time, I don't think Brock Bowers becomes a cancer for the Raiders. Malik Neighbors has already become a cancer for the New York Giants. like as good as Malik Neighbors is like, dude, you just got here. Why are you so loud? What is your issue? I mean, I understand he has no quarterback right now, but holy cow, man. Malik Neighbors, for a bad franchise, it sure as hell isn't helping them out. Dude, you're a rookie. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'd take the tight end. If I had to pick one of the three, man, I'd take the tight end, because it seems like when you have a really good one, they can't figure out how to cover him.
But what we have to keep Justin Herbert healthy. We have to keep him upright. You watch the Trey Pipkins tape from last year, and you throw up all over yourself.
That's what free agency is for. That's what free agency is for. That's why you get someone through free agency to fix it.
You don't want to put Scotch tape on the offensive line. I understand why they went with the right tackle here. Obviously, I wanted Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers, but I'm not upset if Joe Alt is as good as everybody says he's been in camp and heading into the season. Very, very interested in seeing him go against Max Crosby in week 1. If you're a Charger fan, we love Justin Herbert. We love all these guys on the team. You have to be watching Joe Alt and how he handles himself in week 1 against Max Crosby and the Raiders. It's going to be awesome to watch. Dave has a conspiracy theory. Can't leave this show without Dave bringing up his conspiracy.
And I want people to jump in, because I say a lot of crazy stuff. I don't think this is crazy, and I'm curious to know what the comments are on this. Mario has no idea where we're going on this.
I have no idea.
Go ahead, Josh. Want me to say it? Josh is frozen, so I guess I'm going to say it. All right.
Yeah, go ahead,
Mario.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So you heard about what happened in Dallas the other day with the elevator situation, where the Chargers had players locked in an elevator for 2 hours and they were stuck in there. Dude, I 100% believe Jim Harbaugh set up that elevator to get stuck. I don't believe it was an accident. Jim Harbaugh comes out and says straight out that, hey, I was just in that elevator. That could have been me. I mean, it happens to be Justin Herbert's the one in there, right? The leader of the team. He does a full report on what was it like in there and who was the leader in there and who was sweating and who wasn't sweating. Justin Herbert's shirt was dry. Other guys were sweating with their shirts off. Those poor women that were in there. You got these big 300-pound guys taking their shirts off. That must have been a lot of fun. And then the way he spoke about it, 100% believe this was a setup. Jim Harbaugh set this up as a psychological experiment to know what kind of person he had at quarterback and what kind of people he had in that elevator. I believe the whole thing was set up by Jim Harbaugh, like he was pulling some Tom Cruise Mission Impossible stuff on top, cutting cables. I believe it was a whole setup and it was on purpose. I don't think it was an accident happened in that Dallas hotel. I think it was 100% set up for the Chargers to get locked in that elevator on purpose, and I think Jim Harbaugh is behind it.
You can't tell me it didn't
Okay.
like bring him
So
tears,
let me
Josh.
chime in on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, dude. Usually I think Dave is absolutely nuts because he says stuff like this all the time where I think he's crazy. I 100% agree with him on this. 100%. Because I listened to the press conference of Harbaugh talking about the situation. Dude, he went into extreme detail for 10 minutes on this elevator situation. If he didn't make it happen, he would have just been like, yeah, we had an elevator issue. It was a couple hours, tough for those guys, but they got through it, whatever. He talked about it in so much detail. It was almost like it was an escape room, and he had like cameras set up in there, and he's just watching the whole thing like a security footage. Like, I 100% agree with Dave that he set this thing up. Also, I hate to say this on the show because it's going to sound bad, but I have to. The way he talks about Justin Herbert creeps me out just a little bit.
Yep.
Like it's getting to the point. It's getting to the point where it's like, dude, like, let's reel it back a little bit. Like, this is kind of getting a little bit weird.
It is weird.
I was made a comparison to it, but I'm gonna back away from it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that was like a Harbaugh mentally challenged. Let's see how the guys react. Let's see how they adjust to it. And the detail in which he said it, like the look in his eye when he said it, and Herbert's shirt was dry, was the funniest and just the weirdest thing to. And I'm picturing too, like they get out of the elevator and people are like asking, like, "How are you guys okay? You know, how was everything?" And Harbaugh just standing there going, "Shirt's dry." And then him like tapping Greg, be going, "It's our QB. Shirt's dry." It's just like, I don't know what that
dude,
means,
exactly.
Man. Yeah, that'd be a pretty great. Yeah, I'm not sure it'd be soaking wet. He'd look at me and go, "You're a loser." But yeah.
Imagine if it was Joey Bosa in there. I mean, come on. Joey Bosa is the guy that gets knocked out unconscious, and then when he comes to, first thing he tells the doctors, just pull the plug. I don't want to go on. Okay, dude, you aren't even tied up to any wires. What do you mean pull the plug? What do you mean you want to quit? You want to check out already?
No, I'm gonna do the opposite. I bet he would lift that elevator up, all the way up to the floor.
Joey would knock everybody out in that elevator and then stack their bodies so he could use them as a ladder and get out through the top. Is what Joey would do. It would be all me.
You know, I don't even think it's far fetched to say it was a Silence of the Lambs situation where Jim Harbaugh is just on top of the elevator.
Shoot the leg.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, the creepy thing kind of makes me laugh a little bit because every time I hear Jim Harbaugh talk about Justin Herbert, I always think of that scene in Billy Madison where he's opening the Valentine's Day cards and then he looks around and the girls are looking at him. And then he gets the one that says, "I'm horny," and it's the teachers looking at him, winking at him, nodding. You're like, oh, yeah, there you go. That's it. Right. You're right. It needs to stop a little bit. All right. And by the way, so whoever called me a flat earther, I'm 100% not a flat earther. Not Kyrie Irving. You
up. That's where you draw a line.
Why do people think it's that crazy? Yeah, why do you guys think he wouldn't
watch
do that?
The press conference? Okay, honest God, if you haven't seen the press conference, please watch it and then tell me after watching that I'm not right. I'm telling you.
It'd be so funny if
watch
it came out that he did. It'd make my day.
Dude, they file charges. The elevator would file. I mean, the hotel would file charges against Harbaugh for putting people's lives at risk. Good God.
Okay, thanks, fun ruiner. God, I didn't know.
No, I'm just saying.
My bad.
But if you listen
at
to talk,
4:35 p.m. Eastern time, 1:35 Pacific.
It seemed a little fishy. That's all I'm saying. Watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Watch it. Okay. All right. Jeff Chapman says it wasn't a setup. Okay. I'm just saying. It
wasn't a setup, but this is funny.
Yeah. There you go. Anyway, just my opinion on this whole deal there. All right. You want to go through other depth chart positions right here on the Chargers final roster?
Yeah. I mean, where do you want to go? I mean,
go defensive line.
Hit it.
Go defensive line. No, well, we don't know what everyone else has seen. Go defensive line.
I got nothing to say, to be honest. Like, I don't like the defensive line. I've said this before. I like the edge rushers. They're great. Mario said it a second ago. The interior defensive line, there's a lot to be desired. I'm in favor of going through the waivers of every other team for interior defensive line, cornerback, tight end. I'd even say receiver, but since we have 7, that's not going to happen. And even running back. I mean, I'm not sold on Jared Patterson. I would keep Vidal, but I mean, all these positions, like I'm seriously looking at the waiver wire to add on. I'm not satisfied with a lot of these positions. I'm completely satisfied with quarterback, edge rusher. I like our
Edge
safeties.
rusher,
I think
especially.
I think Gilman's the most underrated player on the team. And Tony Jefferson was talking about him in his press conference, saying he reminds him of Eric Weddle, which is such a compliment because Eric Weddle is one of my favorite Chargers ever. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. To compare anybody to Eric Weddle, especially Tony's best friend, I thought it was great, Mario. I think Gilman really is the most underrated player on the whole team.
Absolutely. I think him and Morgan Fox are like my two guys that when people talk about, like, who are some of your favorite Chargers or guys that go under the radar, it's those two. I mean, Morgan Fox brings more energy on that field than anyone else, and so does Gilman. And they're just the hard hitting defensive guys that just gets the crowd up. It gets people going. They're fun to watch. They play the game harder than anyone else. To have them on your team, it's big. And it's one of those things where they're those guys, Dave, I think that in 10 years from now, right, that we talk about, the 2024 Los Angeles Chargers. Do you remember Gilman? Like, Gilman was such a fun watch. Like, Gilman was played so damn hard. He made that big play against the Broncos and like forced, like, just those guys are the guys that when you look back and you're just kind of doing the guy talk where you talk about your biggest fandom and things that you love to see, those are the guys you're constantly going to bring up.
I hope so. I hope so. And you're seeing people in the chat, right, that the D line's one of the biggest issues. Joey says it. I think we all agree. I mean, there are no big names on there. There aren't, household names on that D line. Kind of makes you a little bit nervous. Our edge rushers, obviously, are the strength. When you look at the edge rushers on there, everybody in the NFL knows those names. I think even the casual football fan knows the name of every edge rusher the Chargers have. You just hope they aren't making tackles, chasing guys down from the other side because they went right through our D line. I think it's going to be a big deal, right? The easiest way to win games is between the tackles. I hope that the Chargers aren't exposed. They're going to be tested on it to see what these guys have. The guy who you brought up a second ago, Mario, is a guy I want to see more of. And if I don't see more out of him this year, I'm sure Jim Harbaugh won't see more out of him either. I think it's his last year. It's Morgan Fox. Like, I keep waiting for more from Fox. And as much as I think he's going to step up and this is going to be his time, I don't think last year he had a great year. And I think this is his chance to show what kind of player he is. And is he a guy that's here for more than just the season?
I mean, I'm sorry, I cut out a little bit. We're good. All right. I mean,
Josh,
dude, come on. 5.5 sacks though last year, 6.5 sacks the year beforehand. Come on, man. That's like some of his best seasons for the Chargers. The guy's only 29 years old. Like, what more do you want from the guy?
That's more. It's a combined 11 plays. 11 plays in a 17-game schedule. That's what that is. I want to see more. I want to see more of a disruptive force. Okay. Honestly, I want to see more. I expected more. Maybe I'm wrong. Big dude always seems to be in the right place at the right time. I want to see more. That am I wrong? I mean, is it just that I expect too much from these guys? And maybe it's because you get guys like a Khalil Mack that you can tell seem to not only be in the right place at the right time, he's old, and yet he continues to make plays. I don't know why. Again, maybe it's not just it's him. There are other things involved. I mean, it's a name dropping right here. Eric Weddle was a very good friend during the time he was with the Chargers. And when things went wrong and you would think it was someone else's fault, he'd run through the play with me and show me exactly where the play broke down and whose fault it was. So they look like the guy that was responsible for that coverage or that tackle. It wasn't even his job. He was just near the play because he recovered the best. But really, when the people who are watching the game are pointing the finger at, Fox is in the wrong place or Fox doesn't make that play. Fox, that wasn't his responsibility. So I can't tell you. I'm not in the coaching room. I can't tell you. Maybe I'm too tough on that guy. But there are a lot of times, especially in the defensive backfield, where we blame as fans, as broadcasters, where you go, that guy, he blew the coverage on that. And what I'll say, that's not the case at all. This is where the coverage was blown, or the safety wasn't here, or the corner was in a zone situation. All that stuff is interesting. That a lot of times we follow the ball, as we say all the time.
I like Morgan Fox. I think he's one of the guys that has a lot to prove this year. Like Mario said, 5.5 sacks last year. You'd expect him to have somewhere around the same this year or even more. I think the bigger issue has been all the other guys that have been with him on that interior defensive line that have been just straight up bad. Do you remember when the Chargers brought in Linval Joseph and he was going to fix all of our problems? That didn't happen. I mean, Chargers have had bad players within the interior defensive line for a while now. Jim Harbaugh is going to fix that. Joe Ortiz is going to fix that in the next few years with their linebacker play and getting guys to rotate in there that can stop the run and make plays on the quarterback. When was the last time the Chargers had an interior defensive lineman that was well-rounded in stopping the run and getting after the quarterback? They just haven't had those guys. Yeah, Corey Legit. It's been a while. So Chargers need to get more of those players in there. Junior Colson is a guy that you're going to be looking for as well in the middle of that defense to make some plays. Happy to see him out there in the last preseason game. I'm excited, man. I wish the season started this weekend. I really wanted it to happen this weekend. You're right. I'm getting married this weekend. Yeah,
you would have missed the game.
That's a good point. Yeah, I may or may not have picked my wedding around the Chargers season. Let's put it like that. So I'm how big of a Charger fan I am.
What color is the suit?
Navy blue.
Oh,
Navy blue. Good move. Good move.
Yeah. Nah, you want me to go light blue like Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
No.
I do it. That's your boys doing that. You'll see me.
Can you imagine, dude, if Josh was wearing the powder blue and all his groomsmen are wearing the orange? That would have been freaking hilarious.
Be so funny. You should do. I hope that when you say when they go to say I do, I'd pay you so much money if you go bolt up and subscribe to the Bold Group podcast.
Dude, Josh's mom will kill him.
Yeah, my.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I was thinking about saying Roll Tide, but
Roll Tide would be a funny one too. That'd be funny. I'd laugh.
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the Chargers are in the right position to still make the playoffs? You still believe that?
I do. I believe this is a playoff team. I mean, we did our predictions on what we thought was going to happen with this team a couple months ago, and we did it before the roster, the whole deal. I have them as a playoff team. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be one of those guys that's right up there in the talk of Coach of the Year, and I think this is a playoff team. Now, do I think it's going to be crazy exciting? Like if Mario bets the over in any Charger game, I'm going to think he's the dumbest guy on the planet. Yeah, I would never bet the over in any Charger game. I don't think they're going to average more than 16 points a game, but I think they're going to win.
I think all right, hear me on this. Playoff team, like if you look at the roster, playoff team debatable, but based on the schedule, very much a playoff team. Like I think the Chargers really benefited from the schedule that they got this year. And I think that's also why a lot of the moves don't really seem in a rush and seem very just patient. Because they know we can compete with who we face this year. We don't have to go trade for Matthew Judon. We don't have to do everything we can to get Brandon Ayuk. Because we know with the guys we have, we can make our way into the playoffs and be fine and just keep steadily building. Like one of the exciting groups that you were hinting at, Josh, is like, even commented, should we add to the linebackers? And I'd argue that I'm excited to see what the linebackers do because they're so young and there's just so much to be desired in that position. That's going to be fun to see. All right, let's just see what they do. The schedule, we're not playing, the Raven. I mean, we are playing it, but you know what I mean? We're not playing like the best teams in the NFL every single week. We get a pretty light schedule, and two teams in our division suck. So they benefit a lot, and it's just the excitement is there. But would I say this team's a playoff team without looking at a schedule? No, I would not say that.
Yeah, I think. So you think I think the Chargers are going to surprise a lot of people.
Sorry, I think the Chargers have one of the most favorable schedules with a healthy quarterback. We should make the playoffs 100%. Yeah. How many of these position groups do I feel confident in going into the season? About half.
That's a great
about
question.
Half. So is that a playoff team if you're only confident about half of the position groups? How much does Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh have into making some of those position groups seem not as bad as they are? I mean, that's the real question.
Second easiest schedule according to Sharp Analytics.
Couldn't agree more. So look, here you go. And I will add coach in there. I have faith in the coach. I have faith in the quarterback. I have faith in our offensive line. I have faith in our edge rushers. I have faith in our linebackers. And I have faith in our special teams. I think we have outstanding special teams.
Great.
That's where I'm at. Where am I concerned? I'm concerned with the defensive backs. I'm concerned with the interior defensive line. I'm concerned with the running backs. Concerned with the tight ends. I'm only concerned with the running backs because of I think injuries are definitely going to happen. Why wouldn't they? Look at the history.
I'm a hell of a lot more concerned with the cornerback and the safeties.
Yeah.
Safeties, I don't feel that bad about, to be honest. Cornerback is one of the biggest question marks on the team. So, yeah.
There's writing on the side of people asking us, are we in good standing with the Chargers? No, I'll be honest with you. We we are not in good standing with the Chargers. At least I'm not. You know, I hate to say it. I went to every goddamn home game for 30 years. I can't get a press pass anymore. You know, as when I put my last request in to go to a Charger game, the answer to me was, "Hey, so you're trying to get in to see the Chargers Dolphins?" Yep. Good luck with that. The guy who said good luck with that was the guy who signs the press credential. So again, 30 years of covering that team, and he tells me good luck with that. No, we aren't in good standing. So there's nothing we say here to try and get in good with the Charger front office. Anyone who thinks, hey, we're sitting there, we're just selling a bill of goods, that's not the case at all. This is us talking as guys who love the NFL and love the Chargers. That's just the way it is. But no, we're in good standing with those guys. When they invited all those podcasters to their facility, guess who didn't get an invite? The three of us. That's the way it goes. That's fine. I'm hate to say it, guys. I think all of us are meaning the three of us. We're in the business of looking for friends right now. We got you guys on the side and we got us three. That's all we need. That's all we need. I do not care about anyone in that front office, whether it's Dean, anyone else. By the way, we do have a connection with Jim Harbaugh. That's how we knew he was coming to the Chargers in October when we said it on the show before anybody else. We do have a connection there. Josh does have a connection with Tony Jefferson. We did have one with Luis Perez, who's now crying driving down the 405 freeway south. But we had one there too. Sorry, did I cross the line? Anyway, good luck to him in his next league. So there we go. That's it. So there's nothing here that's a kiss-ass moment for us and the Chargers. If anybody who thinks that's what it is, if people think we're just saying whatever the Chargers want to hear, we don't care what the Chargers think, what we tell them and what we say.
Yeah, I'd rather just be honest. I think all of us we said to ourselves when we started the show, let's just be honest about our opinions. We don't want to sugarcoat anything because we don't feel like it's fair to the fans, ourselves, and really we just be wasting our time. So Mario, I don't even know if he agreed to that. Me and Dave agreed to that separately, I guess. Mario just joined the show with us. So whatever, it is what it is. I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
When we will go to a Charger game, Mario, we're going to end up buying tickets. That's how it's going to go. When we're trying to decide the game that Mario can fly out for, we're going to buy tickets. We aren't calling the Chargers and asking for freebies. All right? Why would we do that? They could laugh at us again with Charlie Brown kicking that damn football, falling our asses. We aren't doing that. Please.
I always go back to also I gamble a lot, so I don't know if that always plays well either. So I made that decision when I was 18 years old. I'm
gamble?
Happy. Yes. Be who I am.
I saw a stat the other day. Sorry, I saw this the other day. I'm going to throw it at Mario because Mario's the youngest one on the show. It says that young people put more money into gambling every year than they do into investments for the future. Is that your case, Mario?
No. I don't even I like to bet, but like I'm not throwing like $100 per bet or anything like that. Like you're not gonna catch me doing that at all. It's like $5, $10, $20, like $30. Like it's just that. I'm not betting $200, big hundo, nothing like that. Unless you have a lock.
Hey, highlight this comment for me real quick, Mario. From Les Smith at it would be 4:49 your time. Highlight that one for me.
Les Smith, got it.
Yeah. It says the 405 ran behind my childhood home in Chula Vista. How's that possible? The 405 is in Los Angeles. Chula Vista doesn't have.
And the 805.
I need some explaining.
The 805 ran behind your home. The 805 ran behind your home. The 405 cuts off, man. The 405 split. God dang it.
Damn it.
Damn
he said meant for 805. He just commented right now. We love you. We still love you.
God dang it, Les.
Wow.
You tell me you take the 95 to work every day? The one that goes from New York to Florida? Jesus.
All right.
Wow.
There's the one by Blake here at 450. You got that one, Mario?
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Dave, what are you mad about today? Also, Josh, good luck this weekend. My sister got married this past weekend. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Dave, what made you angry today?
Dude, you know what? This is really easy, Mario. This is really easy. So, bought a brand new car. My wife bought a brand new car, okay? And so I say, here's the deal. I don't like to get in a car unless I'm driving. I like to be in control of a lot of things if you haven't figured that out. So sure enough, Saturday I said, hey, let's go to Coronado. My mother's in town. Take my wife, my mom to Coronado. Let's get something to eat. Boom, rock hits the windshield. Brand new car, man. Crack in the windshield. I'm like, son of a gun. Is that bad enough? Like, is that thing gonna
Oh my
spider?
God.
And I'm like, that's not too bad. And then I got asked to go on a local TV station this morning. I get up at 3 a.m, go down, driving behind a construction truck. Another rock goes through the window. This one's a big one. And I'm like, damn it. Like, I literally moved my truck that was behind her car out of the driveway because I didn't have gas in it. So do I want to go to the gas station? I go, screw it. I'm going to take her brand new car. And man goes right into the window. It's going to cost me a windshield. It's a brand new car. It's not even a few weeks old. I'm going to have to get a brand new windshield for this damn thing.
How much is the windshield?
A windshield's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not cheap either.
No, I'm looking at maybe $1,000. Like, I might have to get my insurance involved, which I don't want to do. It's like, yeah. Am I more frustrated? I'm not angry like Joey Bosa angry here. I'm just frustrated. You know, it's one of those things like, how the hell does this keep happening? It's a magnet.
That'd be it's the thing that there's not a hole in any wall in your house right now from that. It's pretty impressive. Because I would have absolutely had a temper tantrum as a 25-year-old man.
You know, the worst part is it wasn't my car. It's her car. You know what I mean? Like the only car she ever got that she decided to get. She's never, I always pick every car out. First one that she says, I want this car. And she was happy to have it. And then I'm the one that driving both times when the rock goes through the windshield. Yeah, just a little disappointed. By the way, you talk about putting holes in the wall. Are you one of those guys that puts holes in the wall?
No. I think I've only done that once, and I was on an accident. Yeah. I'm not a big punch a hole though. I'm more of a scream the F word as loud as I can.
I do it when I wake up.
I do it in pickleball all the time. Pisses everybody off.
Yeah,
I do it in golf. I do it everywhere.
Oh, dude, I do it golf. Golf, I get really dark. I yell the F word, call myself the B word, and just, have like a breakdown.
There you go. Yeah, when I was younger, man, I was a hole in the wall guy. Like I used to, like it was out of control. It was like I asked my wife, I go, why would you even marry me? Like I was dating, and there are 30 holes in the wall. Like they want you freaked out. I haven't put my hand through a wall in years, but I used to do it all the time. You know.
That's the craziest thing.
There was one hole, dude, that was shaped just like a baseball bat. I just picked up a bat and slung it right into the wall. It was just going right through the wall, just shaped perfect like a baseball bat.
That's
like when a guy swings and it goes over the dugout. It was like one of those. I just
what is your issue?
A lot. You live with me now. You do for a couple of weeks.
Damn,
not anymore. You've never seen me do that. Have you ever seen me do that? Never.
Nah, but I've seen you do other things that are probably not great.
I've come a long way, Mario.
I remember a kid that I played football with in middle school. His like girlfriend broke up with him or something, like a middle school thing. He went to like punch the wall, but he missed the wall and he hit the brick and shattered his hand. And I remember watching the whole thing, be like, whoa. I was like, how did you miss? He was like crying with his hand shattered. And I just kept standing there looking at the wall and looking back at him like, again, how did you miss? It was right there. Like, how did you? I was like, were you looking? Like, I was so. I don't know why I was so curious. I was not a helpful person.
You ever seen someone try and punch that speed bag in that game to see how hard you punch, and they miss the bag and they hit the holding the. Yeah, that's a good way to break your hand. Yeah, that's a good one.
Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean 8 beers at Dave and Buster's?
There you go. There you go. All right, hey, real quick, Mario, since we're kind of always go off the table a little bit or off topic a little bit. Yesterday, man, coaching a younger group of kids. I was helping a guy out, and the team was struggling for the first couple hours. He's like, dude, he just walks over to me where the kids are getting water. He goes, I don't even know what to do. He goes, these kids aren't getting any better. Like, what do I do? I go, how much time do you have left? He goes, I have an hour left to practice. I go, this is what I do. Tell them to put their gloves down and just walk out in the outfield and everybody start looking for 4-leaf clovers. He just stares at me and goes, you can probably be the first one to go. Like, that doesn't help at all. I was like, these kids aren't very good. I don't know what to tell you. Time to start praying. I don't know what to tell you guys. There you go. All right. Anything on the side? I think there are people saying, Josh, they want to This guy Nestor says he was a door puncher, more of a door puncher. Replacing a door sucks, Nestor.
That's a lot.
That sucks. That sucks.
People just calling us psychopaths. Nothing.
Yeah, we
new.
are. That's fine.
It's fine. It's whatever. It's all good.
Been there.
Yeah, it's fine. Been called a
Get
lot
help.
worse.
Go to therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I had a guy tell me today that he'd rather burn himself with lit cigarettes than listen to me. I go, that's fine. That's good. I've been called worse. It's okay. There you go. Anyone on the side, Josh, that we're missing before we say goodbye?
That is true.
That's
Yeah. You got them all? All right. I was reading them all the way through the best I could. I just, as I said, it's hard for me to catch them. So if we missed it, we didn't get to it. You guys are absolutely saying. I know you guys are excited about it. Look, by the way, if you want to know the complete roster of the Chargers as of right now, it's right there on Chargers.com. But it will change. We hope it does change in the next couple of days. I think this roster can be a little bit better. Have faith, though. I do have faith in Joe Ortiz. Do have faith in Jim Harbaugh. And at the same time, go back and do what we told you. If you haven't seen it, go find that 10-minute press conference if Jim Harbaugh talking about the elevator, and then tell us if we're psychos then. Okay? I'm kind of curious to know about the conspiracy theory. I think we're right on this. I think Jim set this whole thing up. Not afraid to say it. It was all a test to see what kind of guys he had. Go ahead. Put it on me. If the Chargers get mad that I said that, go ahead. You can call me. You guys have my number. It's fine. It's the same number you used when you told me you weren't going to give me a press credential. So you just call me on that one, and we'll talk about it. Okay? Mario, you good? You got anything?
No. Next show, it's a show, the last show of Josh being a free man.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And also, keep in mind for next show, we'll run through the whole Charger schedule. Make sure to please like and subscribe to the podcast. Whether you listen to Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen to, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube as well. Follow us on all social media platforms. Do all that. Comment. Even if you comment bad things, that works for the algorithm. If you want to call, hey, Dave, your mustache looks terrible, or your face hair looks terrible, go for it. Do all that, guys. I just got a haircut. Comment about the haircut. Comment about the Chargers. Comment about everything. Give us your season predictions too as well. Comment as best you can. Interact with us. We love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
There you go. All right. So for Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you Thursday, 1 o'clock Pacific time. And again, if you're driving down the 405, it will not take you all the way into Chula Vista, just to give you a heads up. Thanks again. I'm just teasing. We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Can't believe no one knew that.